I love my morning coffee, but sometimes the crash hits harder than the caffeine. That's when I switch to Everyday Dose, coffee with benefits. It's real coffee infused with mushrooms, collagen, and nootropics, giving me smooth, focused energy that actually lasts. The Black Friday sale is on. Get 61% off your first Coffee Plus starter kit, a free A2 probiotic creamer, and over $100 in free gifts. Enter for a chance to win $100 cash or even get your entire order refunded. Head to everydaydose.com/podcast or use code podcast at checkout.
Did you know Microsoft has officially ended support for Windows 10? Upgrade to Windows 11 with an LG Gram laptop. Voted PC Mag's Reader's Choice Top Laptop Brand for 2025. Thin and ultra lightweight, the LG Gram keeps you productive anywhere. And Windows 11 gives you access to free security updates and ongoing feature upgrades. Visit lgusa.com/iHeart for great seasonal savings on LG Gram laptops with Windows 11. PC Mag Reader's Choice used with permission. All rights reserved.
Yeah, and get them going. Alrighty, so welcome to Wisco Fanatics. We're going to start a smidge early here, and I'm going to put Lambeau Field on the backdrop just because we're going to start with one specific thing today. And we're going to start with the news that is breaking as of about 10 minutes ago. Yep. And it's that the Green Bay Packers are adding Trayvon Diggs to their room. And Jake and I are talking about this. And we're just like, you know what? We're just going to start the show and start with this conversation. Yeah. So we're talking about Trayvon Diggs and all of the reasons why it makes sense for the Packers to bring him in and then where the Packers can go from here. So first things first, Jake, just give me your immediate reaction to it. And then we can get into kind of some of the underlying aspects of it.
Packers got another corner, adding depth to a position that desperately needed it. Pushes Keyshawn Nixon automatically to number 2, which is good for him as well. He could be a good corner number 2, in my opinion. He's definitely not in a CB1, but having him as a CB2, we've seen it work in the past with Jair Alexander. It could work again with Trayvon Diggs, a guy who, like Jair, is very aggressive at attacking the football. So that adds a lot of depth. He's a guy that can actually hang on to the ball, which is nice to have in the cornerback room. Now, a guy like him who has the protection in back of him where he didn't have that in Dallas, where he has 2 guys over the top that will protect him from anything deep, that's going to be really nice for him going into next year. Now, obviously, we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but this is something that you and I have talked about where we talked about the safety room a lot. You brought it up a ton where one year when we were very bad at safety, they went out, they signed Xavier McKinney, and they drafted a bunch of guys who were really good, Bullard, Evan Williams, and Oladapo, who is just kind of stuck in a muddy room of rotation. We don't even know if that guy could be a baller, but he's
really good special teamer. So even at that, he's
absolutely shown flashes. So doing that with the cornerback room as well is something that you have brought up, and I agree with. Now, this could be the first step. You get him cheap this year, get him in the room. He's obviously friends with Micah, played with Micah. He's played with Xavier McKinney in college. Now he's going to be in Green Bay with him. You know, they might use similar agents or the same agent. I've read online that they use the same agent, so that could be something that can make it easy to sign him back here. We were just talking before that, you know, hey, you sign up for X amount of money, you throw a lot of incentives on there for games played, you know, batted passes, interceptions, Pro Bowl, all this incentivized stuff that you can add on there. You add one guy right here, you draft another guy in the draft in the second or third round, a guy that you really like, a high character guy. And then boom, your cornerbacks are fixed. Your safeties are still very good. You still feel good about your linebackers. What's the one problem that's going to be the problem with this defense? Defensive line. You could figure that out in the draft, you know, or free agency. Where me and you just planned a bunch of stuff together today. So our offseason is looking pretty good. But this is a good first step for a team that was having a lot of trouble defending the pass on really basic stuff. So if he's able to open up the book more for Jeff Hafley, absolutely home run hit. A guy like this doesn't just become available in a week 18 like this very often. So I'm glad that Green Bay and Gutekunst realized that and they jumped on the opportunity.
Yeah, and you brought up a lot of the main points, and I will say there were times where even when people were trying to claim that he's one of the best corners in the league in like 2021 and 2022, and he was racking up the interceptions and pass breakups and stuff, that I was pretty critical with him of the fact that he's very aggressive and he takes a lot of risks, and that means he gives up a lot of yards. So there's 2 things that I think of with that. And the first thing is yes, he is aggressive. He gives up yards. That's still true. But my main point was he's never had safeties like the Packers have in Green Bay. So that alone, just the fact that him and McKinney obviously have familiarity, but just the play style where you can afford to have a guy taking more risk because you have such a good safety behind him. So that's one point. The other point with having a guy who takes risks and can get interceptions, the Packers only forced 2 turnovers in the last 5 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm willing to accept some risk in the room. And if you look at the Ravens game from last week, the Packers are already giving a ton of yards up. So we're excited. It's another guy to add to the room. And yeah, we started the show a little bit early, and here we go. As far as moving forward, yes, I do agree with you that there is an opportunity for the Packers to keep Trayvon Diggs around, still draft corners. We're going to be getting into offseason stuff after the playoffs. But, yeah, anything else you want to say on Trayvon Diggs before we get our regularly scheduled programming going?
No, let's say Happy New Year to everybody out there, especially Steve. He was the first comment in here. Happy New Year, Steve. If you're going out tonight, be smart, get an Uber. Don't be an idiot. I'm just going to call it like it is. Also want to say hi. Somebody, Dandy's World fan desperately needs a hi back. So hello, how are you doing? Robert said, hope they give him reps on Sunday unless it's too soon. No, absolutely not. I think that Sunday is the perfect opportunity to give him reps. That makes so much sense. Throw him out there. It's going to be pretty vanilla defense in my opinion, but hey, get him out there, get him in the uniform, get him used to playing with everybody. Hello, Ethan. Hello, Loriana 888. How we doing?
Pretty sure that's Lorena, but
whatever. I'm hey, she said she wanted a shout out. I didn't say it was going to be correct, so I'm giving you your shout out. What's going on, everybody?
All right, we're gonna hit the intro and we're gonna get going.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to another episode of the Wisco Fanatic Show, where we cover the Packers, Bucks, Brewers, and Badgers basketball and football teams from an optimistic and realistic perspective.
Wisco Fanatics is brought to you by Cardboard Legacy, Wisconsin's most complete sports card shop. Buy, sell, grade, and consign all at their location in Oshkosh.
You hear that, Red Hat? You were correct, Red Hat.
Yeah,
Red Hat. You don't even have a name anymore. Yeah. You're Red Hat today.
Apparently Dandy's mad that we're getting comments. All right. So today our main show is going to be basketball because that's what we do on Wednesdays. Normally our Packers stuff is all on Tuesday nights. Mm-hmm. So next Tuesday we'll have an abbreviated recap for Packers Vikings, and then we're going to have a really extensive preview for Packers and probably Bears for round 1 of the playoffs.
Yep.
Now, today's show we are doing Valerie. Hello. Okay. All right, we're good. So today is going to be a lot of basketball. We have 4 Milwaukee Bucks games to discuss. We have 1 Badger basketball game. And then today we are also doing our transfer portal targets for Wisconsin football because the transfer portal opens on Friday. So we're going to have a lot of that going on as well. So we're very excited for that as well. Going into this, we're going to spend some time on the Pacers and the Grizzlies games and go through that and still just talk about those, but we want to get to the Bulls and Hornets games when we get Giannis back. So let's start with Bucks Pacers from last Tuesday. This show happened after we did our show before Christmas last week because we moved to Tuesday. So this is from last Tuesday. So Jake, give me your takeaways from Bucks and Pacers.
Yeah, first of all, thank you again for covering for me as I was dealing with the flu that was going around that apparently everybody in America has now. I thought it was just going to be a Wisconsin thing, and then you and I have a buddy that lives out in Phoenix, and he was telling us that he has it too. So I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I guess it's nationwide then. It sucks. I hope nobody else gets it because that was terrible and went through my entire house. But back to business here. The Bucks are back to business. They won 3 of 4 this week, and this is the first of 3. First one here, Bobby Portis was in the starting lineup, gave you 14 and 9. I'm going to talk a lot about Bobby today because we've been kind of hard on him. and we need to give him love when appreciated. So Bobby Portis 14-9. He's been playing a lot better, more consistent. Kyle Kuzma still doing his thing, 15-7 and 2. Still using his length on defense, still disrupting passing lanes, getting downhill. Kyle Kuzma needs his flowers, is what I'm going to say. Miles Turner, now he didn't have an amazing game, I would say, 10-6 with 3 blocks, but he made very timely shots in this game. And Pacers fans need to get over the Miles Turner thing. I mean, we're halfway into the year now. Whatever happened, and they're obviously only going to look at the Pacers' end of things, but they need to realize that Miles Turner is a human being, an adult, and we don't know all the conversations that happen behind closed doors. So he made the decision that he made. Get over it. You did your booing. It doesn't need to happen for the next 3 years, okay? Kevin Porter Jr. was awesome in this game, 24, 6, and 5. Leading scorer for this game for the Bucks, very efficient. Off the bench, Ryan Rollins was very good, 23 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. He shot 10 of 15 from the field. So between Rollins and Kevin Porter Jr., 23 and 24 respectively. And outside of that, wanted to give one more shout out to Miles Turner. He did a really nice job protecting the rim outside of the 3 blocks. He was fantastic in my opinion. The bench was awesome in this one. They shot 59% from the field and 50% from 3. So the bench was super efficient. Sucks that Gary Trent Jr. had to leave this game so early after he made a really nice contested layup. But obviously, going into the future, he is back. He did miss the next game, but really nice finish by Gary. You don't really see that side of Gary Trent too often, where he goes to the rim and he shows his athleticism, because usually he's just coming off a screen and shooting a 3-pointer. But his ability to get downhill and finish is still something that the Bucks should maybe take advantage of a little bit more, in my opinion.
Yeah. So Matthew said Happy New Year. Said the Packers upgraded their defense. We did talk about that right at the top of the show, so you can go back and check that out. We spent 7 minutes on that. Looking at Bucks and Pacers, you talked about Kevin Porter Jr., Ryan Rollins. They drove the engine for the offense. They combined to shoot 18 of 28 from the field, 4 of 8 from 3, and 7 of 12 from the free throw line, which I think is an opportunity for a little bit of improvement. But combined for 47 points, 13 rebounds, 9 assists, and plus 34. So really good job by those two. And then defensively added 4 steals. They did with this game, and I know people are going to be like, oh my God, the Pacers actually made it a close game. Basketball's a game of runs. They said it on this show. We say it on our show. You're gonna hear it all the time that the basketball is a game of runs. It looks bad after losing a game after having a big lead versus the Wolves. But 1, basketball is a game of runs, like I said. And 2, we've seen the Bucks make late pushes versus better teams than them and fall short. Just kind of how basketball games go. There's really not many games nowadays that are decided by 30 or 40 points.
No.
In the era of 3-point shooting being such a prominent thing in the league, a 15-point lead is like what a 7 to 8 point lead used to be back in the early 2000s.
It's fair.
I would say having a 20-point lead is like the new 10-point lead in the NBA.
Yep.
They vanish quickly, like we saw during the Timberwolves game last Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
With that, the Bucks did win the rebounding battle again, which is something you were kind of pointing out about a week and a half ago already. They won 48-40, only allowed 7 offensive rebounds, and some of them were kind of some lucky bounces. But the Pacers only got 5 second chance points out of it, so that's good work. The Bucks put in 18 second chance points of their own off of 7 offensive rebounds to match the Pacers. The thing that I love about this so much with the Bucks out rebounding the Pacers 48-40, they had 6 players with 6 or more rebounds. That's the part of that was a big deal for me. Looking at turnovers, the Bucks had 15 turnovers. It's a number that I'd like them to be under. I'd like them to be the kind of match number that I look at is 13. 11 second-half turnovers. They only had 4 in the first half, which was great, but 11 second-half turnovers is a lot. That's part of what allowed the Pacers to make it a 9-point game at one point. Yeah. Pacers did get 11 points off of those 15 turnovers. All of them came in the second half. Going to have some similar things to say when we get to the Grizzlies game. But I do still think the ball movement can be improved. The Bucks had 20 assists on 42 made field goals in this game. The ball movement can definitely get better. Kevin Porter Jr. and Ryan Rollins gave the Bucks a lot of individual buckets in this game. If you look at, and I would even throw Kyle Kuzma in there. Kevin Porter Jr. made 8 shots, 6 of them were unassisted. Ryan Rollins made 10 shots, 9 of them were unassisted. And Kyle Kuzma made 5 shots, and 3 of them were unassisted. So definitely an opportunity for ball movement to improve. And honestly, that's my only really big takeaway from the Grizzlies game is ball movement. First quarter, everything is great. They're moving the ball. The ball is it's flowing quickly. They had 8 assists. 4 turnovers is a little high for a quarter, but 3 would be perfect. So, I mean, it's splitting hairs on that. But if you're averaging 8 assists a quarter, you're going to have 32 assists as a team. That would be fantastic. Unfortunately, that was really the only quarter that was noteworthy for this game because after that, Memphis kind of just took it and ran with it. Yeah. Doc Rivers talked about it after the game as well. Ball movement, the first quarter of the Bucks, the 8 assists, only 10 assists for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
That's bad. That and turnovers are a product, I think, a little bit of bad spacing, which, you can put on the coaching staff if you want to, but all of the guys on the team know how spacing works. They have the quadrant system thing. Like, guys know how spacing works. It's a little silly to me how much like people are like, oh, well, Doc should have them in the right spots. To a point, yes, but these are also grown men that know ball.
Yep.
Like, these guys all have a better basketball IQ than everybody you know. Like, yes, there's stuff that people can learn, but, I mean, these guys are all in the NBA for a reason, and it's not only because of their physicality.
Yep.
So the guys know how spacing works. It just needs to be better, and the ball needs to be less sticky, which is, again, something I'm going to bring up in a little bit, unfortunately. But Bucks only turned the ball over 4 times in the first quarter, which would be 16 for the game, but they finished with 22 instead, which tied their season high. Yeah. So my really big takeaway from the Grizzlies game is that the ball movement needs to be better, and it needs to be crisper, and there are other things that I'm going to say with that when we get into some of these other games. So anything else you want to throw on the Grizzlies game?
Yeah. Again, Bobby Portis playing much better. Another double-double for him. After taking so long to finally get a double-digit rebound game, he's starting to stack a lot of double-digit rebound games, which is really nice to see. Kyle Kuzma and Bobby Portis are going to be the 2 main cogs off the bench for the Bucks the rest of the year. So those two, if you can get them to both average 12 to 17 points per game, Kuzma can give you his 6 to 8 rebounds. Bobby can give you his 10 to 12 rebounds, and they can be efficient from the field. That's going to go a long way for the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, one of my main takeaways was also the assist-to-turnover ratio because the turnovers directly led to Memphis beating the Bucks 26-13 in fast break points, 54-28 in points in the paint, and the Grizzlies still shot 8 more free throws than the Milwaukee Bucks. That doesn't make any sense to me, but when you're putting yourself in disadvantage situations where you're turning the ball over and they're getting numbers, you're going to have to foul eventually. And I like how you said that before, where after the first corner, the Grizzlies kind of just took it and ran with it, because that's pretty much what happened when the Bucks were turning the ball over. I felt like I was watching a consistent loop of fast break opportunities for the Memphis Grizzlies, which was really, really shitty to watch. But one last thing, shout out to AJ Green. Had a nice bounce back game after going 1 for 6 versus the Pacers on Monday, going 6 for 11 from 3, 7 for 13 overall. So good bounce back game for AJ Green. And yeah, you just take this one and you throw it away and you move on to the next one.
Yep, and the next one involves Giannis Antetokounmpo, so that's super fun. Adam said Green Bay is now Dallas North. We only have 2 of their guys, not that many.
Yeah, it's not. It's not like when all the Packers were going to the Jets.
Yeah, not that bad yet. We don't have all of Micah's buddies here. and plus, he was Xavier McKinney's friend first.
See, it's a good point. People need to remember that.
All right. Moving to Bucks and Bulls, we get Giannis back. So finally, I shouldn't say finally, I get that he was hurt, but we get Giannis back and we can start again seeing what this team is supposed to be, built around him. So
yep.
Bucks get Giannis back on a minutes restriction. But what were your takeaways from Saturday's win against the Bulls?
Yeah. 8 games. Wait, 9 games? Was it 9 games? 8 games?
It was 8.
I don't know. I think it was 8. Either way, it was a long 8 or 9 games, whatever it was, without Giannis. Really made me not that you and I struggle with the appreciation point of how good Giannis is and, appreciating his career, however long it may last, however long he may be in Milwaukee. But when you don't have him, that's when you're really like, dude, I could really, really go for watching 34 dunk on some sorry ass dudes right now.
Or like, man, it's kind of tough watching the Bucks lately because we don't have our best player. Wonder when pitchers and catchers report, but
right. So Giannis comes back. He's on a minutes restriction. Obviously, everybody should have known that. But this is a guy that can be efficient in 20 minutes. So if you're going to give him 25 to 30 minutes, he's going to give you full stats of other players. So he gives you 29, 8, and 1 in his first game back, 10 of 15 from the field. He still gave us one of these. He's still sticking with this, which is fine. If he's going to make threes, I'm cool with it. He shot 3 of them, which was surprising to me in his first game back. I was like, okay, he's probably going to shoot 1. But to shoot 3, I was like, oh, okay, that's a little weird. But it is what it is. You're playing in the flow of the game. So with Giannis back, so is the Bucks' confidence. It's unreal how much more confident and how these guys moved on defense when 34 was out there. And he comes into the game, and you're starting this game, and I swear to God, every time they went down the floor on the offensive end, they were throwing it down the 34 like, bring us home, big fella. Bring us home, big fella. I'm like, yo, let him get into the flow a little bit, boys. There was a couple times they threw it to him on the elbow, and he wasn't even, like, posted or looking for the ball. I'm just like, you guys need to chill. Let him get his feet wet a little bit, and then we'll let him take over, which he absolutely did in the second and third quarters. He was dunking everything, and this needs to be talked about. Yes, his strength is it's awesome, right? His finesse, his body control. This is all stuff that people have talked about. We need to talk more about his footwork, dude. His footwork is fucking crazy, dude.
Yes.
Like, not just off like him doing Euro steps, that's sick. But him in the post, dude, we need to spamming that, dude. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Like, you need to throw that thing down there in that mid-post area and just let him figure it out because he's going to.
Yeah.
And over these next 2 games where we talk about the Bulls and the Hornets, Giannis had some of the most disgusting footwork. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
God, dude. And then to be able to jump up as high as he does, throw it down as hard as he does, but also be able to take the contact and finish. I'm like, dude, this is the best player in the league. Like, you can miss me with everything else. The way that he could dominate a game in 20-minute spurts is incredible, dude. It's incredible. Miles Turner on defense looks like a completely different human being when 34 is out there.
Yep. He's
able to actually use him in the role that we wanted him for.
Yep.
Now we have 2 long guys. One guy can play weak side at all times. They can both block shots. They can disrupt passing lanes. That zone defense is about to be disgusting when Giannis is fully back, dude. It's going to be nasty. Bobby Portis, another double-double for him. That's his 3rd in the last 5 games, so good for Bobby. He also had a game in there in the last 5 games with 9 rebounds. So Bobby absolutely back, playing much better. He was 17 points, 11 rebounds, 7 of 16 from the field in this one. Kyle Kuzma wasn't super efficient, but again, he gave you his 12 points. He was passing the ball well, ended with 4 assists. Excuse me. Ryan Rollins inserted back into the starting lineup as well, and he was scoring the ball well, 5 of 9 from 3. Those are the things when you're looking at the Bucks. Is Kuzma giving you his 12 points? Is he passing the ball well? Is he affecting the ball on defensive end? Is Bobby Portis rebounding? Is he engaged on defense? Is Ryan Rollins knocking down his catch and shoot opportunities? Now, the thing that's the cherry on top that makes us unstoppable is if Miles Turner and AJ Green are hitting their 3-pointers. If those 2 are shooting with Ryan Rollins, good night.
Yeah, the Bucks are going to average 125 points a game.
Good night. You're not beating the Bucks.
Yeah.
If all 3 of those guys are shooting, and we don't even have Gary Trent Jr. in this game, and we haven't even really got Gary Trent Jr. going, and we know that he could be one of the best microwaves in the league.
And playing still without, like, obviously it's been a long time without him, but Taurean Prince, who was one of the best percentage 3-point shooters last year.
And he's another guy. We keep talking about trade targets. We keep talking about defense on the wing. He's another guy. Now, is he an elite defender? No. But on this team, he's going to be one of the better perimeter defenders on this team. Yep. So he absolutely has been missed in some areas, especially with Giannis out. Yeah. Now, we got some late game stuff that we're going to talk about. I'm going to let you go first, and then we're going to talk about some hurt feelings in Chicago, which is not a shocker.
Yeah. So it's going to be weird, but I'm going to give credit to Chicago for a couple things really quick.
Yeah.
Their roster construction it's improving.
Okay.
They're getting better with the way that they've constructed their roster. I think getting Josh Giddey did a good thing for their team. Yeah. And I think Matas Buzelis was a nice pick for them. It gives them some size that's tough to defend, especially like having AJ Green on Matas Buzelis. But AJ Green did do well defensively, held him to 1 for 5 and 2 turnovers. Mm-hmm. So credit for AJ Green, but the Bulls, their front court presents, or their back court presents some length issues defensively. Now, that said, Chicago came into this game averaging 118 points. Bucks held them to 103. The Bucks being locked in defensively is still a good thing for the Bucks. Giannis, you brought up his numbers, played 24 minutes. The thing you didn't mention, and I'm a little surprised you didn't mention it, Giannis was 8 for 10 from the free throw line in this game. Yeah.
You're right.
That's a big deal for me, because if I'm not expecting Giannis to shoot 80% on the free throw line all the time, but if we've just been asking since 2017, like if he can just shoot 70%, just 70, teams have to think about if they want to foul him on purpose as much.
And what's something that me and you have talked about, to your point, what's something me and you have talked about? Yes, the jumper thing would be amazing if Giannis, and he did improve on his mid-range jumper last year. But the thing that really needs to improve is the free throw shooting, like we've been talking about. We seriously been talking about that for like 7 years, dude.
Pretty much since the inception of our show.
Yes. So if he gets the free throw numbers up, absolutely unstoppable.
Teams have to change how they play him again. All right. So with Giannis back, like you said, they're a significantly better team. They still need to think a little bit of work ironing out some of the role players and navigating some of the non-Giannis minutes. That's when I think we need guys like Kyle Kuzma and Miles Turner, Kevin Porter Jr., playing like number 2 options and playing with aggressiveness is really all I want to see. It doesn't need to be like we have every week. We know Chris Middleton is our number 2 option. No, it's this guy, this game, this guy, this game, this guy, this game. I think that makes the Bucks a harder team to beat because they have so many guys who can step up. Ryan Rollins did it in this game, playing within the flow of the offense. There's Ryan Rollins and Bobby Portis go into the same framework where they have a fork in the road, and it's either offensive black hole and holy shit, I'm okay if they trade you, or playing within the flow of the offense and you look like a piece that we can build on for the future. And so rarely there's any in between. So this game, we got the playing within the flow, Ryan Rollins, and it's great. It's awesome. Like you said, 5 of 9 on the 3-point line. Added to his 20 points, he added 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, a block, and only 1 turnover. That's fantastic.
Yes. He's
a building block for the future. Absolutely don't trade him. He's only 23. Put a pin in that. And to his credit, he did it while getting banged up late. He had a knee-to-knee contact, and he played through that. So good on him for playing through that. Kevin Porter Jr. and AJ Green did not shoot well. They combined to be 5 of 19 from the field and 2 of 11 from 3. AJ Green is going to be fine. I have no doubt about that. He's going to be fine. Yeah. Kevin Porter Jr., the thing with him, he was still locked in defensively, and I did give AJ Green some credit for his defense, but Kevin Porter Jr. is staying locked in to give the Bucks 6 rebounds, 9 assists, and 4 steals with 4 turnovers, which one of them was an offensive foul, so 3 turnovers and an offensive foul. But 9 assists and 4 turnovers, I'm not concerned about that at all.
No.
Bucks, I do think, could have rebounded better. 52 rebounds to 47 Bulls advantage. 16 offensive rebounds, which is a lot, but the Bucks did match the Bulls for second chance points at 13 and points off turnovers at 16. Looking defensively, the Bulls versus AJ Green were 3 for 5 with 5 turnovers. They were 8 of 20 versus Kevin Porter Jr. and 2 for 9 from the 3-point line. Versus Kuzma, they were 4 for 10 from the field. And versus Gary Harris, the Chicago Bulls were 1 for 8 from the field.
Yeah,
that man is absolutely earning himself minutes by doing dirty work.
Yep.
And that's the kind of guy you can put on the floor with Kevin Porter Jr., Giannis, Turner, Kuzma, and you'd be like, he doesn't have to get the ball in offense, but he's still going to help us win this game and win these minutes.
You still have to respect him as a corner three-point shooter, so kind of like a PJ Tucker-esque guy.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan of Gary Harris, and if they're looking at somebody for salary filler, I would much rather trade Andre Jackson Jr. or Cole Anthony than Gary Harris.
100%.
And then the last thing I had on this game, this was a back-to-back for both teams as well, but I just wanted to give some credit to, honestly, NBA officiating. There were still some bad calls, which there's always going to be, but I liked the flow of this game. There weren't a ton of foul calls. Not really that many that really made me question my existence. And the fact that there were only 40 free throws combined made this game feel like it happened much more in the flow of the game. It was more about the players than about the officiating. We've seen games where Bucks opponents have single-handedly shot 40 free throws.
Yep.
And the two teams combined for that. So I love that this wasn't a free throw contest like we've seen some of these games. Now, there's two things that do happen when it comes to officiating. One of them happened in the third quarter where a ball went out of bounds and the Bucks challenged it, and it got overturned, and it went to Bucks ball.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Kuzma got pissed because the ref called the ball to Chicago. It got overturned that it was a Bucks ball, and Kuzma still got a technical for reacting how he did. And it's like, I thought about it, it's like that meme where it's like the dude's like, how are you going to boo me? I'm right. How are you going to give it to that technical for being right?
Should take the technical away.
That's a BS. You're like, yeah, you shouldn't get a technical for being right.
Agreed.
Like, if you mess something up at work and a customer is pissed about it, you're not going to be like, no, now you have to pay us double. Like, why is he going to get technical? He was right.
I agree.
As soon as the call got overturned, so should have the technical. You'd be like, you know what? You're right. That's my bad. And move on.
That would mean the refs would have to take some accountability, which obviously they don't want to do.
Fine. But let's talk about the end of the game. So Giannis gets the ball like 6 seconds. He realizes that nobody's going to try to foul him or anything, and he just starts dribbling up the floor. And he goes and throws down a windmill in his first game back. So what were your thoughts on that?
For me as a Bucks fan, I was like, oh, hell yeah, dude. Like, I said it on the radio show that we're going to be on in about 2 hours here. I talked about identity, team identity. So I talked about how the one team that consistently wins in this state over the last 10 years, I mean, the Packers consistently win, but it's because they have good quarterbacks. But they don't have an identity, right? They struggle with their identity this year. That's something that has been a conversation topic about Matt LaFleur this year is lack of identity. You look at the Wisconsin football team, lack of identity. They've tried to flip-flop 2 or 3 times over the last couple of years now, changing a bunch of coaches. We talked about that on Scary Alvarez last night, so go check that out because that's going to go up today as well. Tyler and I have been busy, by the way. And then you look at the Milwaukee Bucks. They've had a lack of identity over the last couple of years, trying to trade for all-stars, but still nothing of substance. So if their identity is going to be, okay, we're going to play a full 48 minutes. We're going to be in your face. We're giving full effort. And if you think that we're an asshole because of that, well, then boo-hoo you. That's your goddamn problem. So I love it, man. I love that Giannis is walking like that. I love that we're getting evil Arc Giannis after we should have been getting that the last couple of years. But, he's pissed off now. People are dragging his name through the mud, saying all this stuff about him. You think a guy, I don't know about you, but a guy that's that talented, I'd be pretty hesitant to try to piss him off because now he has a reason to go nuclear on you. So I love it.
And like a guy that works as hard as he does for, like you said, for people to be dragging him a little bit and like, he needs to be out of Milwaukee and all of that. We went through all of that through all of November and big chunks of December. So that's all that. After the game, Giannis posts, he tweets, whatever, on all the socials. He says, I ain't no painter, but you get the picture.
Dude.
That, first of all, that's hard.
Nasty.
Second of all, like you said, for it to be an identity,
Yeah.
I'm here and like I don't really give a shit about your feelings.
Yeah.
He literally said it to Vucevic. Is like, oh, why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? And Giannis is like, I don't care. He does not care about your feelings. And if we really want to be technical about it, Josh Giddey still shot a shot after Giannis put that up. Mm-hmm. Giannis did that poster dunk. The ball got inbounded. Josh Giddey shot a half-court shot after that yet.
Yeah.
And Gilbert Arenas, I don't agree with everything that he says, but he had a pretty good take on this where it's like, why is it okay for the losing team to play 48 minutes but not the winning team?
Yeah.
And my thought on this, too, is usually with this type of unwritten rule, because I've seen this happen in other games and stuff like that. People get pissed, and then they get all angry and hurt feelings. If you don't want it to happen, stop it.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you watch the whole 7 seconds of it happening, Giannis gets the ball and kind of looks around.
Mm.
And then he's like, okay, nobody's paying attention to me. Like, I'm going to go give myself a momentum play real quick.
Yeah.
And throws it down. And Chicago fans are like, no, why would he do that? He's so unsportsmanlike. He claims to be so humble, but then he does that. And this is what I said about this situation. And this goes to Chicago fans, to the big three teams, because we don't have a hockey team. Mm-hmm. So you have football, you have baseball, and you have basketball. You got your big three, right? And you got the Bears, who are in a pretty good spot in the playoffs. And you look anywhere where Bears fans are talking, and it's, we're the Bears. We broke the Packers. We're taking the North and never giving it back. Ooh, we're the Bears. Brewers knock the Cubs out of the playoffs. Woof, fly the L flag. And Cubs fans, who are Chicago, why are they doing that? That's so mean and disrespectful. That's so disrespectful that they would do that. Then you get Bucks and Bulls. And Giannis throws down a dunk at the end of a game, his first game back from an injury against a team that I would say is a rival because, again, Wisconsin, Chicago, we're going back and forth. And it's, why would he do that? You can't do that. That's so mean. Why would he do that? Chicago, you need to decide right now, because let's say that the Bears window is opening. Let's just say that. Do you want to be big brother or little brother? Pick one. You can't be all Bears are like, ooh, and then Cubs and Bulls fans be like, don't be mean to me. I'm sensitive. Do you want to be big brother or little brother? Pick one.
That's facts, dude. That's straight facts, honestly.
We can go back, and even if we just want to take a step back and just be realistic about this really quick, there is, and inherently with sports fans, there's always going to be trash talk, and that's fine. But there needs to be a layer of giving credit where it's due once in a while, and that's what we try to do with our stuff. Yeah. Like, yes, we hope all of your teams suck. We don't hope your players get injured because they're still people.
Yes.
And as much as it hurts to do, sometimes we give credit where it's due. Mm-hmm. We try to at least be realistic about it. That's in the tagline of all of our social medias and all of our stuff, is that it's optimistic and realistic. And realistically and just factually, the Bears are one of the best teams in the NFC. So they're doing well. They're getting their thing going. Good for you.
Yeah.
But you can't – you have big three of the sports teams. You can't be oh, my God, we're the best, and we're going to talk shit to you. And then with your other two teams be like, don't talk shit to us because we're sensitive. If we're gonna sit back as Packer fans and take shit from Bears fans because they're talking because they're playing well, fine. But you should do the same when it comes to the Brewers and the Bucks.
Well, it just makes no sense that they cry about the L flag, and then after they beat the Packers, after the Packers literally had to give them 9 opportunities to win the game, they put on the cheese grater hat, and we're just supposed to act like that's not the same goddamn thing.
It's the exact same thing.
It's literally the same thing.
Yep.
So
okay,
you said,
great.
We'll take it on the chin because we have to. We have no other options at this point. You beat us. We fumbled the game. We gave it to you. You guys won. The Bears made plays when the plays were there to make. That's awesome. Good for you. But you know what? Don't be crying when Giannis throws down a dunk because your soft asses don't want to play full 48 minutes. Go cry me a river. And Vucevic, who the hell are you, bro? Shut up.
That's
how I feel.
All right. Bucks Hornets from Monday. What did you take away from that one?
Again, Giannis is just his footwork, dude. He had the one move where he's driving and he actually did a jump stop and did a layup, and I'm like,
oh,
holy
so smooth,
shit, dude. Like, I haven't seen a jump stop from a post player, and I don't even know how long, dude. At least 10 years, dude. I'm serious. Like, a jump stop off a post move is nasty work. Obviously, the and ones and the flying through the air, and he's flexing and telling everybody he's back. I mean, he was doing that against the Bulls and doing it against the Hornets. Like, I'm here now. You're not going to punk us anymore. And Miles Turner looks so comfortable on offense. And this is something that we talked about as well on the radio show is now you got to get Miles Turner more consistent shot attempts, because there was times when Giannis was out the last couple of weeks where Miles Turner would go a legit entire quarter without touching the ball. People are going down there taking fast break shots, trying to get easy offense because the offensive flow is all out of whack sometimes. And then Miles Turner is just running laps back and forth. And then he ends up in a situation in a 2-on-1 where he has to get a stop and he gives up a bucket and everybody's freaking out. Well, now in this game with Giannis back, you can control the pace a little bit better. That's something that's a little underrated. I just talked myself into with Giannis as well, where he's gotten very good at controlling the pace of the game. So with that, getting Miles Turner going a little bit on the offensive end, I talked about him on the defensive end. We got to talk about Kevin Porter Jr. Back-to-back games, just dishing the rock. You mentioned the 9 assists versus the Bulls. He had 11 assists versus the Hornets. Also added 5 rebounds and 15 points. This is the Kevin Porter that the Bucks are going to get the rest of the year. And there have been 3 games this year where Kevin Porter and Giannis have played the entire game. They're 3-0.
Let me just jump in on Kevin Porter Jr. because I have numbers for him. He took 13 shots. He made 6. He had 15 points, 5 rebounds, and like you said, 11 assists.
Yes.
And I left him out of the conversation with number 2 guys for when I get to my notes. But I feel that he played this game like a true point guard, where he is looking to distribute, facilitate, push the pace, which something that Doc Rivers actually coached him on very early in the game. So again, if you want to hustle as hard as you hate and appreciate as much as you hate, Doc Rivers, you got to give him credit for early in the game for him telling Kevin Porter Jr. to push the pace. If you watch the game, you can see it on the broadcast that Doc Rivers is coaching him to push the pace. He finished with 11 assists in 13 games if you take out the Piston game at the beginning of the year. In 13 games, he's had 6 games of 9+ assists, and he has not had less than 5 assists in any game this season.
Hell yeah, dude.
Again, disqualifying the Pistons game because he played 9 minutes before getting hurt. But he has not had less than 5 assists in any game this season.
Yep.
And he's had 9+ 6 times. So almost half of his games, he's putting up 9 or more assists. Continue.
Yeah, so Ryan Rollins was really inefficient. This is a game where you were definitely watching it and being like, dude, you're making some tough decisions, and most of them are wrong right now. One example, he had a situation where he ends up digging out a rebound, which was a really nice play. And then another situation where he ends up forcing a steal, which was, again, a really nice play on the defensive end, but then immediately goes down to the other end of the floor and tries to shoot a layup over 2 people who are at least 6'9".
And one of them who is 6'9" with massive hops.
It's like, dude, you are more of like his hops, talking about Ryan Rollins, they're kind of sneaky. They sneak up on you every once in a while. And that's why he gets some of those sneaky facials, where he sneaks one in and you're just like,
he's bouncy.
It's like, ooh, okay, that was nice.
He's bouncy.
But he's not a guy where he's like, I'm coming for you. Wham! Like, he's not that guy. He does have some bounce and he can finish around the rim. But that was a terrible shot. And
that's that whole situation right there. Like, all you did was just take 15 seconds off the clock.
Yeah.
That's all that did. You
And
immediately erased your good play by making a poor decision of trying to shoot that shot. You were not going to get it off.
Right. And on top of that, something that we talked about earlier is when you do that, not only is it a bad shot, so you look silly for that. Now you're giving the other team an opportunity for a fast break to find an easy bucket or a foul. You're getting a 3-pointer. Something good is happening for the other team with you taking that poor shot. So you're compounding issues with that.
Yep.
That's the kind of stuff On top of where you're talking about him jump passing, that's something you've been big on him this year. Those two things have to stop. The decision-making is something that definitely has to improve for the entire year. He's shown the ability to score, shown the ability to defend. But like we've said, he does everything correct to play at the end of games. Makes his free throws, he plays defense, and he can finish in the paint. But you making bad decisions, taking bad shots, and turning the ball over like that will wash all of that away. Wash it all away. That's gone. See you later. So all that work you did before doesn't matter because you're turning the ball over now. Silly turnovers, right? Yep. So outside of that, Bobby Portis was absolutely phenomenal in this game. He was on fire. He was talking that shit. 8 of 12 from the field, 5 of 7 from the three-point line. He made 5 of the 9 three-pointers that the bench made for the Bucks. Fro Gary made his debut in this game. He also made 3 three-pointers. Gary Harris made a three-pointer. So Gary Harris is one of those guys. We were talking about him earlier. He's one of those guys, like, he's only going to get 2 to 4 shot attempts, but he's making half of them. I promise you that. He's very opportunistic. He's a pro's pro. He is the perfect guy for the 2025 Bucks. You could not have found a better fit for the 2025 Bucks. So we have to give credit to Horst for that. We have to give credit for Horst finding a way out of the Dame contract and finding a way to get Miles Turner in there. People have to start giving him credit. You know, we were talking about Kevin Porter Jr. What did we trade for Kevin Porter Jr.?
Marjon Beauchamp.
You mentioned that the other day while we were watching the game, and I'm just like, oh, yeah, shit, that's right. We traded Marjon Beauchamp, and we got Kevin Porter Jr., a guy who had 15, 5, and 11 and plays good, hard-nosed defense. And we were talking about effort, right? You never have to question Kevin Porter Jr.'s effort.
On either end.
On either end. And that's something – there's something to be said about that. You don't have to question Ryan Rollins, his play effort. You don't have to question A.J. Green. You don't have to question Miles Turner. Now, Miles Turner may not always fill up the stat sheet. He did today. You never have to question his effort. He plays hard. Yep. Now, a person you have to question effort is Bobby Portis, especially on defense, but he was giving you buckets this game, so he really nullified everything that he was going to give up on the other end because he was stretching the floor for Giannis to get easy buckets inside. To get 25 from Bobby, 24 from Giannis, and 23 from Miles, yeah, you're going to win a lot of basketball games when you have 3 guys giving you 20.
That is a massive front court to look at those 3 guys and be like, damn, that's 2 power forwards in your center. Damn. As far as Ryan Rollins is concerned, he's still got some decision making to iron out at times, and he's young, so there's an aspect of that. A bad turnover near half court where you're 5 feet away from each other and throwing a pass that can be stolen, like that's so avoidable. Mm-hmm. To have that kind of turnover. Shooting contested floaters with lots of time on the shot clock. Like, that's stuff you don't have to do. And then we talked about the getting a turnover and trying to go 1-on-2 in transition. Like driving and forcing off-balance shots, no pass possessions. That's the thing between Bobby and Ryan Rollins. The 0 pass possessions, that's the stuff I cannot stand when it comes to basketball. Does not matter if it's Bucks, Badgers, an NBA game that I have no stake in, a game that I'm playing in, 0 pass possessions will always grind my gears.
Yes.
Unless it's obviously transition or, you know, a guy's given a heat check because he's made his last 5 shots or something. Like,
yeah.
But if it's just a regular possession and there's 0 passes happening, that possession sucks.
Great.
Now, the fork in the road that I was just talking about with the Bulls game where it's Rollins and Bobby and they're looking at 2 forks in the road. I think what I'm going to call the 2 forks is forcing and flowing.
Okay.
So Ryan Rollins this game was forcing. In the Bulls game, he was flowing. In the last 2 games, Bobby is flowing. He's playing within the flow of the offense. That is what I need. The black hole, I touched the ball, now I'm shooting. That is the forcing fork in the road that makes me want to see you traded. So there is a very strong duality to 2 of these guys, and one of them is 23 and one of them is almost 30. So there's learning that I think and ceiling potentially raising that I think that can happen for one of them. The other guy is who he is, which is fine because we've seen him help us do good things. Now, after the Bulls game, I was kind of wondering who wants to be the number 2. I think 2 guys played aggressively within the flow of the offense, and that is Miles Turner and Bobby Portis. Both of them took 12 shots. Turner made 7. Bobby made 8. They scored 23 and 25 respectively. Miles Turner led the team with 6 rebounds and had 4 blocks, his highest block total since November 24th. Kevin Porter Jr. took 13 shots. He made 6. We talked about him and his assists. He's been great. Bucks only had 8 turnovers in this game. That is fantastic. The Hornets still got 14 points off those turnovers, so they were pretty efficient converting those. The Bucks, the big thing with this game is they allowed 17 offensive rebounds. Yeah. That number needs to be under 12. That's where the league average is. Now, we talked about this. You and I talked about this during this game, that some of them were kind of a result of, long shots producing long rebounds, like LaMelo forcing up a logo 3 with, late on the shot clock, stuff like that. That stuff's going to happen. The offensive rebounds is never going to be 0. It's never going to be 3. But keeping it under 12 is reasonable. That's league average. Just keep it under the league average. That's reasonable. The thing you were talking about and the word you mentioned is effort. Yes. There were several rebounds where guys just weren't on the weak side grabbing rebounds. And Hornets players noticed and like, oh, hey, I can go get a free offensive rebound. Like, sweet. That's the kind of ones that you can't have because it resulted in 24 second chance points.
Yeah.
If you get that number under 15 league average, which is the league average is 15, you get that under that, and we're talking about a 19-point victory for the Bucks. Talking about the Bucks winning by 20.
Yeah.
And we're feeling good. Now the Hornets, they're a little bit plucky, and they had some young guys out, but they still have some really good players over there. They lost Miles Bridges, who I think is somebody that would do really well in a Bucks uniform. But
I would love a Bucks uniform.
It's effort is where I'm landing on it.
Yep.
So I'm glad you brought up all the guys that you don't have to question their effort. So Bucks have 3 games between now and next Wednesday. So they have tonight against Washington, they have Friday against Charlotte, and then they have Sunday at Sacramento. They're starting a West Coast road trip on Sunday. So 3 winnable games, I think, for the Bucks. But Giannis is back, so it's time to go on a run, and we'll see what they can do for some trades. I will say some of the guys that they're targeting, and there's rumors and stuff like that, it's not like something that's going to happen tomorrow. But there's a lot of guys who are available to be traded after January 14th and 15th. So that's kind of when I'm looking at stuff to start heating up. Yep. And then the trade deadline is obviously in early February. So it's still probably going to be a couple weeks before we get some really hot and heavy trade rumors and stuff like that, because there's a lot of guys that can't be traded for another couple weeks. But keep an eye on that, and hopefully the Bucks can stack some wins in the meantime and start climbing up the East. Yeah,
they start stacking some W's. All that talk about Giannis leaving Milwaukee will quiet down a lot too.
I think it's already quieted down a lot because basically John Horst has been telling everybody to kick rocks.
Yeah, but winning cures everything, man. So just win your games. And everything.
Not the choice of words that I would use in a more private session. Setting. I would probably say it differently, but I like that John Horst is basically telling everybody to stop asking.
Yeah,
he's not. Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to bring in Mike, and we're going to switch to Badgers. So, Mike, welcome back. Switch to Badger basketball.
How we doing, fellas?
Not bad.
I just got
Super Bowl, or the Packers Super Bowl hopes are saved because we signed Trayvon Diggs, so that's cool. People are expecting he's not going to be who he was, and it's like that's not what we need. We just need depth, but we're cool.
I just got done playing ball in an alumni outing down here in New Holstein. So the shot was pretty flat, but my vision is still A++, man. I'll say that.
For my Happy New Year, welcome back. All right, so last night Badgers beat UW Milwaukee, their final non-conference game. It's all Big Ten from here, and after this game, the gauntlet starts. So, Mike, I'll let you start with the guards, and what did you take away from last night's win over UW Milwaukee?
Yeah, so I'll start with the guy who kind of runs the ship in some sort of speak, Nick Boyd. Definitely was not impressed, especially in this first half. He did end up in 22 minutes. He had 16 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 turnovers. Very slow start in the first half. He had both of his turnovers, and he only had 2 points in the first half. And Yeah, he got a quick basket basically, and he looked kind of out of place, and he also picked up 2 fouls as well. So, this is one of those games where you're happy to see some of the other bench players step up in this case, so that I'm going to talk about here shortly. But he responded very well in the second half, scored 14 of his 16 then to lead the charge after Milwaukee made a run, which kind of scared me a little bit, as I messaged you guys throughout the game a little bit with that. I'll address my thoughts overall on that. But it was definitely a slow start, a little out of characteristic for Nick Boyd's expectation, I would say. But he definitely responded really well in the second half, especially like I said on that run that Milwaukee made. But I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do come Big Ten play, man, because we're stating the obvious here, but we're definitely going to need him against these big time teams like Purdue and Michigan. That's coming up as well, and UCLA too. So is what it is. We're moving on with him. So and going into Jack Janicki, guys, I'm gonna say it soon with another kid that I'm going to address, but I think we got to cut Jack Janicki's minutes, and I hate to say that because we like to be. This is a positive show and everything, but it just doesn't. I just don't feel too positive going forward because number one, he goes again scoreless, 14 minutes, 0 points. He does get 3 rebounds. He does get the steal, but in terms of what we want to be production-wise and from an identity standpoint, and this goes by the team too in terms of 3-point shooting, we can address that. That's fine, but as far as the bench goes collectively, we need to find different answers right now. And unfortunately, as far as the scoring perspective goes, Jack Janicki's not giving that to us right now. So I mean, I do think his minutes are going to get cut a little bit. And the reason is going to be because I'm at the 2 of the next guys that I'm going to address. I mean, there's going to be a reason for that. I mean, Jack can't play. I haven't seen him play point guard yet. That's definitely part of it as well. And we got 1, if not 2 other capable bodies that are true freshmen that can handle that. One more than the other, and I'm going to address that. But as far as from a production standpoint, if you can't score the ball off the bench, and again, from the kind of identity that we're trying to establish right now,
yes,
you got to be able to shoot the ball. Unless you're a Will Garlock or somebody, you got to be able to shoot the ball in this lineup that we're trying to put together, the identity that we're trying to put together. And that's just not happening right now with Jack. So I'll go into the next 2, and I'm going to address the long-term stuff eventually. But, I'll go into Hayden Jones next. 11 minutes. He played his best game, I think, all year as a Badger so far. He looked a little more comfortable, I would say. Yes, it's against Milwaukee. It is what it is. But he got 11 minutes. 8 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, had a hell of a pass to Nolan Winter in transition on a breakaway, which was nice. I'm still a little questionable about him being the official backup number 1 position. I'm going to address this shortly with the next guy that I think is going to take over that role. But it's nice to see a guy like Hayden Jones, who is a true freshman, mind you, that is he is making strides in some regard. But I don't know if he's like a true backup point guard yet, but that gets me to our next guy. And before I go to you guys, but Zach Kinzinger. Now, I think if you could confirm by watching a simple eye test, whether that's just simply as bringing the ball down or what his off-ball characteristics are, he clearly belongs, I think, in this lineup, and I think he belongs in this lineup this year. It's nice to see Coach Gard address that. Hey, yes, he might not have been ready yet, but I think clearly you watched him last night, the last game as well. Yes, we're going to find out more against Purdue. I think he definitely belongs out there. He looks good when he brings the ball down. He's not scared one bit in comparison to, I hate to say it, Hayden Jones. When I see him bring the ball down, it's a completely different story in my view. I like the poise that he brings. If he can knock down some threes now, I think he's going to get great minutes on this team. So,
I think he actually played pretty well around the rim last night too.
Yeah, for sure. So he got 18 minutes. He had 5 points, 1 assist, 1 rebound, 1 steal. Like I said before, he looks solid bringing up the ball. And it really comes down to if he can knock down shots as well. He's going to I think he easily is going to get 10 to 15 minutes a game going forward. Like, I don't think there's any question about it. He literally plays 2 games and he's scoring for us yet, right? And who did I just talk about before that is not scoring for us anymore, right? It's production at the end of the day. I get it, but I mean, the batters have a lot of stuff to figure out yet. And it's unfortunate because we're running into this game against Purdue on Saturday, and I don't think we still don't have things figured out yet. I'll get to my long-term stuff after you guys go because I talked for a while, but no, I obviously love what Zach Kinzinger can bring to the table. Badger fans are going to see a lot of him going forward, and I am 95% sure about that.
Yeah, I agree. Don't have a ton of takeaways for the Wings, honestly. John Blackwell coming back from his injury looked a little conservative to me, especially offensively. But the Badgers, they were stagnant in the second half for about 4.5 minutes. John Blackwell went and got him a bucket. So that was the big takeaway for me. He had 8 points on 2 for 5 shooting, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. That's great. 4 for 4 from the free throw line and no turnovers. So I have absolutely no complaints about John Blackwell. I think he did fine. Like I said, playing conservatively, a little more reserved coming back from his injury. Andrew Rohde, the Badgers started 1 for 10 from the 3-point line, and the 1 3 that they made was Andrew Rohde. He was 3 for 6 from the field. He finished with 7 points and an assist and a turnover. He only played 20 minutes just because the Badgers kind of pulled away, and then they put in some of the other guys. One of the guys I didn't put in was Braden Carrington. He did not play the first 3 quarters of this game. And all of the games that I've watched to this point, I've said it a whole bunch of times, I like how he plays offensively. I like the versatility he presents defensively. I haven't seen anything that makes me feel that he deserves less playing time. So, and this is purely speculation, but I'm wondering if there's something disciplinary going on for why Braden Carrington did not play the first 3 quarters last night.
I'm just gonna, just interject real quick. I don't know if this directly applies to him, but Coach Hard, basically after the game was because he pretty much got asked about that. He wasn't asked about Braden specifically, but he was basically asked about the rotation, and he basically just said he's going with the guys that have the hot hand, whether that's during the game or in practice. I mean, we got to remember we saw Jack Robinson play last night too, like actual good solid minutes, not like Isaac Gard minutes in the last 2 minutes, right? Like, we actually got to see some time from him. So I think that this is just kind of one of those things where this team doesn't have it figured out in terms of an actual rotation that they want yet. Whether that's due to production from guys that I just mentioned before, or I don't want to say it's
honestly, if we're looking at guys who come in to play the last 9 minutes and 34 seconds, I would have rather had Braden Carrington playing all the minutes that Jack Janicki played.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. So 2 things I'm gonna talk about. I'm gonna address Wisconsin sports and to go with Treg. What's going on, Treg? How you doing, buddy? He said, I really want to love this Badgers team.
Did you know Microsoft has officially ended support for Windows 10? Upgrade to Windows 11 with an LG Gram laptop. Voted PC Mag's Reader's Choice Top Laptop Brand for 2025. Thin and ultra lightweight, the LG Gram keeps you productive anywhere. And Windows 11 gives you access to free security updates and ongoing feature upgrades. Visit lgusa.com/iHeart for great seasonal savings on LG Gram laptops with Windows 11. PC Mag Reader's Choice used with permission. All rights reserved.
It's tough for me. I say to you, what is love if you don't have to work for it a little bit, man? You got to earn it a little bit. And you know what? Love hurts sometimes, and that's okay. I do love this team. And you know what? They might hurt me in March, but that's just how sports go.
And they have
the Packers every year. I sign up in September. It's going to fucking hurt like hell in January, but that's okay because I love the Packers. Same thing with the Bucks. Same thing with the Brewers. Rinse and repeat. I love my teams. Yep. This is what you sign up for, man. You just love your team. You cheer for them. You support them as much as you can. You be loud. You be positive, and you just move on. That's just life, man. Yep. But in terms of a few things, one, Jack Janicki. I just want to say one quick thing about him. When you're looking at him last year, And then you going into this year with the additions that they made, and like you said, Mike, about the identity, Jack Janicki did not evolve at all. He didn't get any better. He didn't add any tools to the tool belt. So that is the problem with him when you're bringing in a guy like a Jones. You're getting guys from overseas, and this guy played professionally. He's a 6'6" guy that can handle the ball, big body, can finish, shoot three-pointers. That's tough when you're looking in the mirror and you're Jack Janicki being like, they got 6'6" guys over there that shoot and dribble the ball and get to the rim. I'm just a 6'5" regular guy that has to have somebody create a shot for me.
And the thing that he did a lot last year that we haven't seen much from him this year, I don't know if I've seen him dive on the floor very much.
Exactly.
That's what earned him a lot of playing time last year.
And that's how he earned it, was the dirty work stuff. So then you get a Kinzinger guy, and he does look a lot more comfortable bringing the ball up. He does look more comfortable running an offense. Now you got this guy staring you in the face looking to take your minutes as well. And it doesn't even bring up the fact where I 100% agree with Tyler, Carrington should be getting all those minutes.
He literally
defends. He plays tough. He can finish around the rim. He can finish above the rim.
This is all in 6 minutes. 6 minutes. He came in, immediately got an offensive rebound.
Yep.
He played 6 minutes. He had 5 points, made both of his shots. One of them was a three. He missed a free throw, but he had a rebound, an assist, and a steal, and 1 turnover. Absolutely. He did all that in 6 minutes.
All 14 of Janicki's minutes. Until Janicki figures it out, miss me with the practice stuff, dude. The film that we see is on the television.
In game, there's nothing that says Braden Carrington should not be playing when Jack Janicki's on the floor.
Exactly.
He could be hurt too. I don't know the full story with him. I don't know.
And we never will, right? Like we're talking heads on a podcast, so like we're not gonna know everything, but
yeah,
from what we can see and stuff we can read, like I can't make sense of it.
Either can I.
Like the two best guards are Carrington and Kinzinger off the bench, if you want my perspective on it.
Easily.
I think that would be a great combo if you ask me. But because Kinzinger can bring the ball up, Carrington can shoot and defend, as you said. Kinzinger can defend. So, I mean, and they're being productive every time they're out there. Yes, Kinzinger's only had 2 games, but he's been productive. Same thing with Braden. So
I agree.
Those are the two top guards that should be off the bench. But that's just that. What do I know? I don't know.
Let me get into this real quick. So I don't have too many notes on the big men. Milwaukee doesn't really have a guy that you look at and you're just like, yeah, we got to stop that guy. You know, not like when we were playing Nebraska, we're like, you got to defend that guy. That guy's really good, you know? So Nolan Winter, nice little game, 14.7 rebounds and assists. Efficient from the field. I like that he shot 3 3-pointers. I know I want him to have a little bit more attempts out there. I feel like he's a little bit more comfortable when he gets more shots on the perimeter. Bill Lauskis, pretty tough game, but he did have 5 rebounds. Defended the paint pretty well, in my opinion. I thought he, at least positionally was there. Austin Rapp, dude. I feel like every time that I get a section to talk about, I always end up with the one guy that just pisses everybody off all year, dude. And I'm an emotional guy. Like I wear my heart on my sleeve. I will be there for you in every situation, but I get pretty riled up during games. Now, I don't take it out on anybody except my television and my children's ears, but Austin Rapp just makes me want to strangle my television. It's like, dog, if you're not going to score, you have to play defense. If you're not going to play defense, you have to freaking put the lotion in the basket. If you're doing neither of those things, I don't like you right now.
Go grab a rebound or something.
I'm sorry. You have to put the lotion in the basket.
You have to put the lotion in the basket, dude. The guys in the NBA that get paid lots of money are the best at putting the lotion in the basket. The Giannis's, the Jokic, the SGAs. Those are the guys that get paid the most money. Austin Rapp, this is semi-pro basketball now. You're getting paid money to come to Wisconsin to score the basketball, and you are not doing that at an efficient clip. Figure it out. And a couple weeks ago, he did a nice job where he wasn't just shooting 3-pointers. Yes, 3-point shooting can be a tool that you can do, but that should not be your entire identity. Mix it up. You're 6'10", my guy. Go down low, bro. Get a post up. Finish. Get easy touches. Force yourself to the free throw line. Figure it out, dude. But this bullshit of not knowing positioning and then just jacking up a three-pointer, I'm sick and tired of it, dude. You played against Milwaukee, bro. You look like dog shit. I'm sorry. 2 for 7 against Milwaukee? You got Purdue looking you in the face. Michigan is not going to take it easy on you. They're going to beat the brakes off us. Austin Rapp's playing 18 minutes versus Michigan. I guarantee he's giving up at least 30. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
Michigan is going to score 100 on us, dude. Or they're at least going to try. That's all I got.
It's one of those things where it's like I'm kind of glad they don't have Danny Wolf.
Oh, my God.
No,
Fried,
I think it's worse,
dude.
man. Hey. I think it's worse. I think they could even do more damage than what Michigan did to us last year. I think it could be worse. No, I mean, this goes deeper. I'm going to jump into my long-term stuff right away, and I'm going to talk about big men real quick because Milwaukee did a very, very good job being aggressive as hell on our big men. We were at one point, 2 of our big men had 4 fouls with 13 minutes to go in this game.
Yep.
If we are in a situation where we play a relevant team like a Purdue or somebody in the Big Ten, really.
Honestly, UCLA is not even a slouch. That's who we play on Tuesday. They play Purdue on Saturday and UCLA on Tuesday. Like I'm not looking past UCLA.
Honestly, until this team shows me like number one that we can take a punch, which we kind of did against Villanova, that's fine. But I need to see more because me personally, this Milwaukee game did not show me squat. No. In terms of like it really, really didn't. And
even if they had won by 40, like it's like okay, it's Milwaukee. Like you want to build good habits, but like nothing was going to be like okay, I came out of that feeling confident about this. Like
yes,
yeah. And I mean, again, going back to what I said about like identity, I mean, you can't shoot 4 of 22 from the 3-point line against any one of the Big Ten because that's primarily your off. It really is at the end of the day. You can't shoot 4 of 22 against literally anybody else that you play the rest of the season. You just can't. In terms of what we want to do offensively, you absolutely cannot do that. And when what Jake said about guys like Austin Rapp, when you can't make shots, you need to find ways to be more productive, and he's just not doing that right now, which is why I think once we get to Big Ten play, like we're going to get cooked. I think our big men are going to get cooked. And not disrespecting Nolan Winter at all. I know he's doing what he can, but I mean, you got 2 freshmen, and you got a sophomore who played in I hate to talk to the West Coast Conference or whatever, and he wasn't really their 5 or whatever. So, I mean, yeah, that's one of my concerns.
Has some potential, but there's a lot of work to do in the room.
He's still learning.
There's a lot of work.
Yeah, he's still learning because I mean, if we want to be good, my biggest point is if we want to be good like this year yet, multiple freshmen have to be called upon if we want this season to be successful. It's not just one guy.
Which, I mean, honestly, if we're looking at the scope of college basketball as a whole, you look at some of the teams that are the best, they are relying on freshmen. I'm not saying that the Badgers need to start getting all the one-and-done guys, but, I mean, there's freshmen being relied on that are going to go straight to the draft after that.
Well, I mean, you don't have to get 18-year-olds anymore if you can get guys that played in the frickin' NBA and have been drafted and shit. That shit is ridiculous, but that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah, so... Yeah, we got to rely on 4 freshmen. If we want to be relevant, we got 4 guys that we need to rely upon, especially if we got other guys on the bench that are being productive, right? So it's going to be it's a carousel right now. I can see why Greg Gard is still going in his bag, so to speak, in terms of the bench and trying to figure something out. Because I think we can convert. I think we all agree like the best 2 guards, like I said, the best 2 guards are Carrington and Kinzinger. Well, the 2 other guys are getting more playing time than those 2 right now, or pretty close. But we're seeing something different in the eye test. So it's going to be interesting to see come Saturday in terms of matchups what happens. So that's my final piece on this.
Alrighty. So like we said, Badgers play Purdue on Saturday and UCLA on Tuesday. So we'll have those 2 recaps next Wednesday. With that, we are going to stick with the Badgers, but we're going to switch to football, and we are covering portal targets now. We're doing 5 quarterbacks, 3 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 3 tight ends, 3 offensive linemen, 3 defensive linemen, and 5 DBs. So each of us has that list of 20-ish guys. There are like 2,000 players that are going to be available. So what you're getting from us is a very small targeted list. And I promise you the Badgers staff list is absurd and has 10,000 names on it. Obviously, that's a hyperbole, but the transfer portal is expansive. And I promise if any of the guys that we have on our lists become Badgers, we are going to be very excited about it. But that said, we just want to give some names out there for guys that we feel fit kind of what we are looking for. Again, we are podcasters, not on the Badgers staff, of what we would like to see added to the Badgers football team. And we're going to start with quarterbacks, and I'm going to have these guys go 5-1. So between the positions that we all have, we're all going to have guys that we highlight. So starting with Mike, give me your number 5 guy, and then we'll just go around the horn.
Yeah, I guess we're getting in terms of like total targets too. By the way, just by position groups for the record, I have 24 portal players. I have 20 in terms of positional need. I put down 24 total when I did all the math. So I missed throwing that out there for fans in terms of how chaotic this transfer portal will be. I got 24 guys that I think we could bring in. So I'm basically just going to go off of kind of when we talked about with Scary yesterday. For a quarterback for me, it's going to be Jaden Craig. When I talked about it yesterday, the biggest thing to me is his production and that he's a winner. The one caveat or the one like pushback is he's not necessarily a dual threat, but at the end of the day, if you can be productive, and yes, it's still FCS football, but if you can be 18-4 in your last 2 seasons, throw over 50 touchdowns in your career, 6,000 yards passing, 6'2", 215 pounds, and you go to an institution like Harvard where they're not just going to take some dude off the street, right? They're going to take somebody who, is pretty, has a head over your shoulder, so to speak, kind of what I said last night. So, and this would definitely fit something up Wisconsin's alley, I feel like, because Wisconsin has also been mentioned as Harvard of the Midwest, maybe besides Northwestern. But no, in terms of, because in the quarterback room, you definitely got to know your reads, right? You got to execute at the end of the day. So, if you're coming in and you're learning a new offense, that's, especially on the fly, you want somebody like that, I think, coming in, who's been a winner. And again, going to an institution like Harvard, I feel like, you're definitely going to have a brain and head over your shoulder. So Jaden Craig's my pick from Harvard for the quarterback room. I'll let you guys go.
Can't hear you, buddy. You're muted.
Sorry. Jake, who's your number 5 guy?
The number 5 guy I mentioned yesterday on Scary Alvarez, Bryce Baker out of North Carolina. I mentioned dual threat guy. I like dual threat guys. I think that's the way of the future. He could help with the running game that absolutely was horrendous at times during this year, and could be a chain mover. So I think Bryce Baker would be a good fit.
Yeah, and we joined the Scary Alvarez show that came out this morning. So check that out. We talked about not only just the transfer portal, but we also talked about a bunch of the Badgers staffing. My number 5 guy is Sam Levitt. I think based on what I'm reading about him, he's going to be more highly sought after, even though he's coming off an injury. But he missed some games in 2025, didn't have some crazy numbers, but it seems to be like he's going to be a hot name on the market. So, Mike, did you have your 5 guys in order, or?
So are we doing? Can I just do any position basically? Because I have that. That's the kind of list that I have. We're just doing quarterback right now.
When we did this, we had 5 quarterbacks, and I just put mine like from 5 being like my number 5 and number 1 being my most wanted at the position. So we'll stick with quarterbacks if you want to name off your other guys.
No, it's gonna be Brendan Sorsby. I think not number 4. Now I know in terms of hype, in terms of paycheck, are the Badgers realistically going to be there? No. But what did I mention last night on Scary Alvarez? He's going to get that Texas oil money. And then he went on and went to make fun of Lubbock, Texas, which is pretty funny for the record. But no, and the reason why I brought this up is why I kept bringing his name up. When he got recruited to Cincinnati, it was literally right when Fickle left to go to Wisconsin. So the familiarity might be there. That's why I mentioned his name a a little bit, but no, I don't think he's going to be a Badger or anything like that. But I mean, you look at productivity at Cincinnati. I think he would fit well in Wisconsin's radar. But it is what it is. So I'll let you guys go ahead.
All right, Jake, you want to give me the rest of your list and then give me your guy to highlight?
Yeah. So the rest of my list, I have Nick Evers. Obviously, Badgers fans should be familiar with him, former Badger. He went over to UConn, got some playing time, so good for him. Honest to God, I mean, it's like not as a slight, like good for him. He got some game experience. That's what every young kid wants. And now I want him back because he's a dual threat guy, and I had high hopes for him when he was a Badger. But bring him back in the Cardinal red and the white and see what he can do, man. He should be familiar with the facilities, is all I should say. So the guy that I highlighted is actually my number 3 on this list, but it's Dylan Raiola. So the thing about Dylan Raiola, he was 181 of 250 last year, so 72% high completion percentage guy. That's something that could be a sight for sore eyes for Badgers fans, I will say right there. 2,000 yards. He had an 8-yard average, so he does still push the ball down the field a little bit. He's not the dual threat guy that I've been asking for, but 18 touchdowns, 6 picks, a 63.9 QBR. He made Nebraska relevant. It's something that I talked about last night as well. But Dylan Raiola, he can make every single throw, sidelines, down the field. He can make every single throw. He has the arm talent to do it. I think he'd be a tremendous fit. I understand there's going to be some pushback because he's a Nebraska guy and people don't like the Mahomes thing that he does, but I don't care. The guy can play ball. That's all I know, right? My number 2 is Alex Mansky from Iowa State. I have a lot of Iowa State guys on here, actually. Iowa State has done a really nice job recruiting and developing their players.
They have one of the highest transfer out lists, by the way. They're one of the top teams that people transfer out.
But he was the leader of that team. He beat Iowa, which is something that the Badgers haven't done over the last couple of years. He played in the Big 12 against a lot of really good defenses, and he won a lot of games. So I just like Alex Mansky's. I like his poise, and I like his ability to move the chains. I thought he did really well. I watched a awkward amount of Iowa State football games this year, which was weird for me. And my number 1 guy, I told Tyler this. Mikey, you jetted after the show last night. You are the quickest exit I've ever seen in my entire life, by the way.
I always do that for some reason.
It's all good. I'm not talking shit. I'm just saying in general. The guy where I said last night, if you want to make an impact and you want to go get a guy, you want to fix the position, there's one guy out there that's going to cost millions of dollars. And his name is Deuce Knight from Auburn. That would be the dream scenario. That guy can run. He can pass. He's a super athlete. Basically think of Underwood from Michigan. Yeah. And that's exactly what Deuce Knight would be. He would be very expensive. But let me tell you, I told Tyler last night, I think I'd take a Deuce if we got Deuce.
That was one hell of a recruiting battle because at one point he was committed to Notre Dame.
Yep.
Literally all season. Then he kind of does like a flip, like pretty much what Amari Latimer did when he committed to West Virginia last minute. So, and Auburn was always there. He's from Alabama too, I believe, if memory serves me right. So
Mississippi, actually. He's from
Mississippi, so close by. But no, Auburn was always in their ear the whole time at the end of the day. And no, it's going to be interesting to see where he goes because
I think they're basically
they're basically going off of one game that he played last year, right? And it was a hell of a game. It was against, Mercer or whatever. So he's basically trying to collect this bag and trying to see the highest bidder. Where do I think I can succeed? And maybe Lane Kiffin does grab him. I don't know.
He's going to end up at LSU, bro. Ole Miss was close on him.
Mm-hmm. We'll see.
All right, so the rest of my quarterback list rounds out. Number 4, I have Bo Prabula coming from he went from Penn State to Missouri. He's a guy that the Badgers checked in on pretty heavily last season when he was in the transfer portal. So I think there's an opportunity there to bring him in. Number 3, I have Tyler Hughes. I think he's an option for the Badgers. To Jake's point, I agree. I want a dual threat quarterback, especially for a team that wants to run the ball and have that be their identity. Having the quarterback be a guy who can tuck and run, I think helps the team because you don't get to a point where it's like, okay, they're not throwing the ball. He's obviously dropping back to hand off, and you can work in play action, which I would be strongly pro for. But it's not so much that you can see that they're handing off the ball and you don't have to pay attention to the quarterback anymore. And now you're playing 11 on 10 offensively.
Yeah.
having a guy that if he's going to pull the ball, that you have to be like, oh shit, this guy's running. That's the kind of quarterback that I want. Justin, welcome back. So Tyler Hughes, my number 2 guy being Alonzo Barnett. He's probably going to go to somewhere bigger, but he's a guy who has the dual threat ability. And then my number 1, my guy to highlight is Colton Joseph from Old Dominion. He is my number 1 target. I think he's a good mix of realistic, a good fit, and talent. He's got good experience. He's played almost 1,300 snaps in his career. In 2025, he had 173 completions on 291 attempts. That's just under 60%. I would like that number to be a little bit higher, but that's an opportunity for him to grow. He had 2,629 yards, 21 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and then he added 145 rushes for another 1,097 yards and 13 touchdowns.
Yes, sir.
He did have 12 fumbles, which is a little high, but for a guy having 34 total touchdowns and basically 37, almost 3,800 yards, that is absolutely a guy I would love to have at Wisconsin. And there's reportedly already a $2 million offer out from Wisconsin to Colton Joseph. So I'm hoping that is like the second the portal opens, I'm hoping to see that Colton Joseph is a Wisconsin Badger.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
And spoiler alert, I hope he's bringing some teammates. Okay. Justin, welcome. Saw the news. I hope you're doing well as well. And now we're going to go to running backs. So, Mike, I'll let you go first. Who would be your number 3 running back out of your top 3?
So this is I kind of cheated a little bit because number 1, Wisconsin recruited him, back in his recruiting cycle. Number 2, he's in the portal and he's already kind of linked to Wisconsin as well. So I got Brian Jackson out of USC, 6 foot, 235 pounds, got two years left. He's got over 300 yards rushing. He basically got all of his production last year, 5 touchdowns. I think kind of a big body, obviously 6 foot, 235, and I think he would complement Giannis Antetokounmpo and Darian Dupree quite a bit. It's going to be very, very interesting, obviously, with the recent news with Coach Spalding leaving. I think that could definitely shake things up. Number 1, how many players we actually want to get now in the portal, because we really don't know. Is Darian Dupree also going to leave? Is Giannis Antetokounmpo also going to leave? So that's a number to watch in terms of like the amount of running backs I do think Wisconsin gets. I did write 2 down, and it was only 1. But then once Spalding left, I do think at the end of the day, there could be potentially somebody who still leaves that running back room. So I think we're going to bring in 2 running backs. But I think, Brian Jackson out of USC is my first pick, or 3rd pick. Sorry.
Yeah.
Jake, who would be your number 3?
I got Peyton Lewis out of Tennessee. Very fast. Played in the SEC. Had some success. I think he'd be a great fit.
My number 3 guy would be James Jones out of the known rushing powerhouse Delaware State.
Yes, sir.
When I looked at running backs, I was looking for guys who had dual threat ability, just like the quarterback position. So guys that can catch. If a quarterback pulls the ball, that he can still be a factor as like a safety valve on like rollout type plays. So I want a guy who can run and catch. So James Jones had 100 carries for 924 yards and 11 touchdowns. Just so a good solid job there. And I think there's an opportunity for him to get a little more volume in the passing game. But Mike, who would be your number 2 running back?
So I did, for the record, I just put 2 running backs in, if that's cool. But Turbo, my guy, his name's Turbo Richard, running back.
Put him on the all college football names team.
Yeah, I know, right? It kind of, fits, right? 5'8", 207 pounds, a little bit of a speedster. Unfortunately, I did see, looking at Twitter, or X, sorry, that he does have a crystal ball to Indiana. Go figure, of all places. But, he was productive as hell last year in the ACC. He had 749 yards, 9 touchdowns. Also had 213 yards receiving with 2 touchdowns, and he's got 2 years left. So in terms of, coming out, from his sophomore year, and you're putting up that much production, this is going to be a kid to watch no matter where he goes. And, maybe we throw an offer at him, especially if, with this recent Spalding news, kind of like I mentioned, We might have to get multiple running backs. So this is probably my number one guy, actually, that I would say, but just in terms of productivity for sure. So I'm going with Mr. Turbo.
Yeah. Connor, thanks for checking us out. Appreciate it. Good to see you back. Jake, who's your number 2 guy?
So there's the guy from NC State. He's rumored to test NFL water, so I kind of got a John Blackwell type of feel from him. But his name is Hollywood Smothers, another guy you could throw on the all-college football name team, dude. I watched his film, dude, and I was like, okay, so one, if this guy comes back to college, I would like him to have a W on the side of his head. Do kind of a Russell Wilson type thing, NC State to Wisconsin. 2, I could probably remember this guy's name for when we're covering NFL draft because this guy's pretty good, man. I was like, oh, shit.
He was on my short list.
He's a pretty good player. I think he would fit Badgers' system very well. Obviously, the system that they're trying to run is high offensive output from the running back position, and Hollywood Smothers is one of the better running backs in college football last year. So, be a great fit.
Okay, so my number 2, and I'm surprised that you didn't actually have this guy on your list. Once you mentioned that you have a bunch of Iowa State guys, I have Carson Hansen from Iowa State as my number 2. Yep. 188 carries for 952 yards and 6 touchdowns, and then 19 for 27 through the air. So I think he's got a guy that the kind of guy that I think is another dual threat guy, which my number 1 guy is absolutely that. So, Jake, you have a number 1 guy that you want to highlight?
I do, and this guy would be a dream come true, almost like Deuce Knight, where now he does need a little bit of work in the pass game, but going back to guys like Melvin Gordon, the straight up just track speed, Ricky Stewart Jr. out of Texas would be an absolutely phenomenal pickup for the running back room. This guy ran track in high school. He actually set a state record out of Tyler, Texas. I figured you would like that, buddy. Set a state record on the 4x100 team. He was also on the 4x200 team. He averaged 9 yards per carry between his sophomore and senior year. 9 yards per carry, bro. This guy is an absolute truck. He has track speed, like I said. He would be Melvin Gordon 2.0 for the Badgers.
I want a guy that would be like college level Leonard Fournette. And I understand that Jacksonville State is not cranking out NFL talent, but my number 1 guy is Cam Cook from Jacksonville State. He has great accelerations. He is great cutting. He's very north-south. He forced 100 missed tackles in 2025. There were 10 plus missed tackles forced in 4 games, including his season high. I know you guys are going to like this. His season high 16 forced missed tackles came against Phil Longo's Sam Houston. Cam Cook last season had 295 carries for 1,650 yards and 16 touchdowns.
Nice.
Like Derrick Henry level numbers here. He had 30 catches on 41 targets for another 291 yards. So I think he's serviceable coming out of the backfield. But like Mike said, if other guys from the running back room are entering the transfer portal and you want to go get a guy who could be your number 1 running back, I'm a big fan of adding a guy like Cam Cook. Plus, just like imagine the social media stuff you can put together out of a guy whose last name is Cook.
Yeah.
The jokes they're writing themselves, dude.
Yeah. He's gonna cook your defense. Welcome to Cam Cook. Cam Cook cooking. Easy work.
Cam was cooking in Madison on Saturday. Yeah,
easy work.
Yes.
All right. So we're gonna keep moving right along the positions. Mike, just give me all your guys at the wide receiver position and your guy that you highlighted.
I'm gonna do wide receiver and tight end. I'm gonna combine the two. If that's okay. If that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
That
man.
works. Yeah, for sure. All right. My theme kind of with like all this is I did kind of have a mixture of young guys, but at the end of the day, I'm all about production, especially going into a year that's, it's Luke Fickell's like last hoorah, right? You need guys.
We need starters
out there. We need starters. We need guys that you can't take flyers on anymore. We need guys that have been out there. I don't care if you're FCS, you're still going against big time schools, at least in the beginning of the year. You've at least been there, right? But no, my one receiver I wanted to definitely highlight, Braden Pagan out of Utah State. He started his career at UCLA. So last season, one hell of a year, actually. 60 catches, 965 yards, five touchdowns. And that's great in its own right. But look at, I know we could use anybody right now, wide receiver, right? But I mean, if there's one thing that Wisconsin never really has addressed in terms of receivers that have walked through the door, it's getting a big body receiver, 6'3", 210 pounds, right there. We need that big body, that big guy that can line on the outside, win those one-on-one battles. Because right now, I think Chris Brooks, he's not any big. And the two guys that we brought in the 2026 class are like 5'11", maybe 6 foot tops. So this is why I wanted to highlight, that Braden Pagan for sure, because he's that big body guy.
Love that.
Need the guy that needs to win the one-on-one battles at the end of the day, because that's something we've been missing. As far as I'm concerned, I think we've been missing that since probably Quintez Cephas. If we're gonna be straight up honest right now, with winning one-on-one battles, like straight up. I love Vinny Anthony, love the guy for sure, but in terms of making
putting up a jump ball or a fade or something like that,
jump ball, or even winning with your speed too sometimes. He kind of brings me, back to Quintez Cephas a little bit, but
sure.
Would love to bring him in.
All right, Jake, give me your do you want it? I made a separate segment for tight ends, so we can do them separate.
Yeah. Let me just rip these real quick.
All right.
So, you're gonna like my list since you want size. All my guys are huge, dude. Because I was like, I'm sick and tired of watching these 5'10" guys, 5'11" guys trying to run freaking slot fades all goddamn day. That's enough of this shit. So, number 3, Preston Harrison out of Texas Tech, 6'5", 215. What do I need to say else about that? Size, body control, good hands. He'd be a good pick. My number 2 guy, my number 2 guy, which would be a dream. I was talking to Tyler about this guy a long time ago, DeAndre Johnson. It was late. It was a Saturday night. I just stumbled across the Jackson State game, and they have a 6'8" wide receiver, bro. 6'8", 211, bro. You want to fix the red zone offense? Give me a 6'8" guy. And he ran a crispy slant route, dude.
Well, did you say 6'8", 211?
6'8", 211, bro. Look him up. His name is DeAndre Johnson out of Jacksonville State. Monster, dude. Crispy inside route. Used his body well. He was a hands catcher from what I saw. It's Deondre, by the way, is how you spell his name. He would be a dream come true. And then the number 2 guy, the guy that I highlighted, is the guy out of Florida State. He was kind of stuck down in the depth chart. Excuse me. He was recruited by Wisconsin out of high school. He was recruited by a lot of people out of high school. His name is Elijah Moore. He is 6'4", 195 pounds. Another guy that you could just throw into the red zone. He could be a one-on-one guy. I believe from what I saw, now there wasn't much to go off of with college football. He only had 3 receptions for 52 yards this last year. But going off of his high school stuff, which is what I found on YouTube, this guy could turn into an A1 day one. So I think that he'd be a really good fit. You're talking about guys beating with speed. He did really nice job of stacking DBs on deep ball. So Elijah Moore out of Florida State would be phenomenal.
All right, so I did cheat a little bit on my wide receivers, but you'll get to that when I get to my number 1 that I'm going to highlight. Number 3, I would put a guy from the All Names team. His name is Raiden Vines Bright.
I saw that guy's name.
So I'm like,
what a name.
He's 6'1", 200 pounds, so he's a pretty just normal wide receiver size. He's coming out of Washington. He had 24 catches for 238 yards and a touchdown. And it's like, okay, why does that matter? First of all, it makes him realistic. Second of all, he did it on 28 targets.
Yeah.
He had 24 catches on 28 targets. That's 85.7% catch percentage. Yes, give me a guy that sure-handed who's realistic.
Yeah.
So that on its own made my list. Number 2, I would have Braden Pagan. That's a great pick, Mike. 100% behind that. Love it. My number 1 is actually a trio. And when I say Colton Joseph, come to Wisconsin and bring your teammates, literally bring all 3 of your wide receivers with you. They have 3 wide receivers in the transfer portal. There's Trey Brown, who's 6'2", 180. he had 38 catches for 762 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's 20 yards per reception. Next one is Naeem Gladding. He had 51 catches for 667 yards and 6 touchdowns. So the highest amount of touchdowns out of the 3. That's 13 yards per reception. He's 6 foot 198. Mm-hmm. And then the third one is Ja'Cory Thomas, who's 6'3", 210. So great size. Had 41 catches for 719 yards and 5 touchdowns. That's at 17.5 yards per reception. And he is the number 12 run blocker in college football for players who played more than 50% of snaps. So if I had to pick one of the 3, it would be Ja'Cory Thomas. But dead ass, bring all 3 of them with you, Colton Joseph. And you have built-in chemistry with your quarterback and your wide receiver room. I'm dead serious. Bring all 3 of them with you.
Yeah.
And we'll still need 3 more, so it's all good.
Absolutely. But I'm dead serious. Colton Joseph and all 3 of his wide receivers. Bring them.
I'm with it.
All right. Let's jump into tight ends. Mike, give me your tight end room.
Yeah, so it was really because before going into, I'm going to say right around this time last week, I honestly didn't think that tight end was going to need to be addressed. But then the next week goes on, and number 1, you see Tucker Ashcraft enter the portal. Number 2, you see Lance Mason declare for the NFL draft. He was trying to get a 5th year, or I forget, 5th, 6th year, whatever. Unfortunately, that sounds like that's not going through, so he's going to the draft. Hopefully he's a day 3 pick.
Hopefully he kills it.
But yeah, so right now, I only think we're only going to bring in 1 tight end, but I could be totally dead ass wrong on this. But anyway, my guy's going to be Mason Williams. Played in the 12 games last year, 6'5", 258 pounds, 26 catches, 276 yards, 3 touchdowns. Freshman All-American his 2024 season. And again, my theme going into all this is production too. And as we know, Ohio is a MAC school, and Wisconsin has had troubles with MAC schools. They have given us tough times before. So coming from the MAC, I'm not going to call it a respectable conference or anything like that, but we've also seen that transition happen multiple times with MAC guys going into big-time conferences. So in terms of production, he fits the mold in terms of size, maybe get a little bit bigger. But I do think, just looking, I'm talking off the top of my head now, in terms of what Grimes wants to do, the one position that could be very, very appealing playing for Wisconsin right now is the tight end room. Lance Mason in his own right had, given the issues that the offense have had, Lance Mason still had a great year.
He's our leading receiver.
Yeah. And this offense is predicated on the tight end room. No question. So, Mason Williams is my guy. I hope we can take a look at him. And this Fickle staff, they have a bunch of connections in Ohio, as we know. So I'm sure they're maybe at least picking up the phone on this guy, and hopefully we can go from there.
Yeah. And tight ends, I agree with you. I think there's potentially room to bring in 2 of them. And you bring up the MAC conference and the lower conferences and stuff like that. I do think that's some of the intention behind the transfer portal is to give guys who are great in D2 and some of the lesser conferences opportunities to come and show themselves out at bigger schools. I think that's part of the motivation behind the transfer portal becoming so prominent in that it is. I think that's what they hoped, was that kids can come from, San Diego State University at Long Beach, and then, go to Tulane, and then from there go to Texas, and then get drafted and be great. Just kind of, get
James Madison to Indiana.
Yeah,
perfect example.
Stuff like that. So I think that's part of the thought process behind the transfer portal. But Jake, run me through your tight ends.
Yeah. So first guy I have is Mason Williams out of Ohio. He'd be a great pick. Second guy I have is Luke Claiborne out of Furman. He did a really nice job, I thought, of finding soft spots and zones from things that I saw, and he could absolutely get open, and that's something that the Badgers quarterbacks could use. I talked earlier when I talked about quarterbacks about completion percentage. Having a guy who can be close to you, tight end, is a young quarterback's best friend. And a guy like Luke Claiborne who can find soft spots would be a really good thing for any quarterback coming into Wisconsin that they're going to get a transfer portal. Number 1 guy, funny you mentioned Tulane, it's Justin Reed out of Tulane. He showed the ability to kind of stretch the field, as well as be a pretty good blocker. I thought he was one of the better blockers in the tight end room. So Justin Reed out of Tulane would be a fantastic fit. He would fit the Big Ten style of football, in my opinion.
I'm glad you mentioned the blocking, because when I was looking for tight ends, I was looking for size, good blocking, and capable receiving. And all three names that I have on my list, they all sound like tight ends. So my number 3 guy is Chris Corbo. He sounds like a tight end. From Dartmouth. He's 6'5", 245. He's an above-average run blocker, and he's sure-handed. He had 45 catches on 58 targets for 516 and 4 touchdowns. My number 2 guy, this should be my number 1 guy strictly because of the fact that his name is Rocky Beers.
Yes.
He would be potentially going from Colorado, from the Rockies to Wisconsin, where the Beers are, and he'd be on the college all college football name list. Rocky Beers is 6'5", 250 from Colorado State. He's a good blocker. He had 31 catches on 39 targets for 398 yards and 7 touchdowns.
Can you imagine the NIL he could make at Wisconsin?
Oh my God!
Let's be real. Let's think about that. Why would you not want to come here?
It's another one. Like, the script writes itself.
Yeah, that name makes too much sense for Wisconsin. Wisconsin Beers? Yeah.
Which is why I have a different guy, number 1, who also sounds like a tight end.
He makes so much money.
My number 1 guy is Jet Carpenter.
Yeah.
258 from Nevada. He has a 75.4 PFF run blocking grade. And again, we always say the PFF grades, take them with a grain of salt, but their average is 60. And his is 75.4. So one of the best blocking tight ends in college football. And then he had 35 catches on 48 targets for 374 yards and 2 touchdowns. So Jet Carpenter would be my pick at tight end. But Rocky Beers makes so much sense. All right, Mike, what are you looking at on the offensive line?
Okay, so I got two. I'm going to go young and I'm going to go old. So I'm going to start with going young, but still productive. So this is a guy that I'm hoping follows Coach Eric Mateos to Wisconsin. It's going to be Arkansas transfer Blake Cherry, 6'5", 310 pounds, offensive lineman. Now and the reason why I bring this guy up, not just because he would potentially follow Coach Mateos to wherever, but he played in all 12 games as a true freshman in the Southeastern Conference, right? And I harped on it last night. I'm going to harp on it again. He was part of of this team. They were second in the SEC in rushing at 101.9 yards per game. You're a true freshman playing in the second hardest conference. Big Ten. Big Ten's better now, for the record. But no, when you come in as a true freshman and you're being productive and you're helping being productive and getting a status, something like that, that definitely pop. Your eyes pop quite a bit. So I'm hoping that this kid will follow Coach Mateos to Wisconsin, because we definitely need the help. In terms of the amount of linemen that I picked that I think will transfer over, I put 2 to 3. I'm leaning towards 3 because I do think still we may have an O lineman transfer out once the portal opens. I think my prediction, I know they're having their end of season meetings now, but I do think it's going to be 3 at this point. But and then my number 2, I just picked him up today, actually. North Dakota State transfer Bo Johnson, 6'6", 297-pound tackle. Now, the reason why I bring him up is he's got 827 snaps under his belt, 369 pass block snaps too, specifically, and only allowed, I think it was 2 to 3 sacks tops. So, in terms, if you want to bring in another guy with experience, I mean, when I scream when 6'6", 297 pounds comes to mind, I'm thinking let's fill that Riley Mullman spot at right tackle. That's the first thing that pops in my head. Maybe you can have an extra inch or 2, but I think experience at the end of the day. And like I said, I'm harping on it all night. North Dakota State, obviously a great program in the FCS, one of the biggest powerhouses, for a long time. So, a lot of kids from there go to the NFL as well. So, in terms of the transition, I do think it would be perfect too going into Wisconsin. So, those are my 2 dogs.
I did look for versatility when I went through mine, just because the Badgers shuffled so much on the offensive line. So that's what a lot of my guys are. But Jake, who are your offensive line targets?
Yeah, first guy is definitely somebody who could play multiple positions. It's Dylan Senda out of Auburn, 6'5", 290, redshirt sophomore. He played primarily at guard, but he could also kick out the tackle. So I thought that would be a a nice fit for a Badgers team that's looking for some continuity up front. Excuse me. My next two guys, first one, he's just a house, dude. And I was like, yeah, we need to get back to getting some big old boys up front, running the ball. Torian Johnson out of UConn, 6'8", 320 pounds. That's a mammoth of a human being. He's a
bigger one on my list.
Dude, there's some big guys in the goal line, dude. Redshirt sophomore, so plenty of years of eligibility left. Hopefully, if he can get downhill with the Badgers and we can have a good running game, he'd be a guy I'd bring in. Last guy I'm going to talk about is a guy who's super talented. He was very highly touted out of high school. His name is Ori Williams out of LSU. Now, I don't know if we're going to be able to claw him away from LSU because they have tons of money now. They're going all in, obviously. But he is 6'7", 300-pound redshirt freshman. He has really good feet, dude. You could tell really early on when you're watching this guy, you're like, yep, this guy's good. He's probably going to get drafted. But he would be an amazing fit. Now, I know the Badgers were able to keep one of their highly touted tackles and pay him and keep him around for a little bit. But getting another guy and locking up the two bookends would be amazing. Those are my three guys.
So my number three guy is another guy that I would enjoy following. Mateos coming from Arkansas. Guy does not have a lot of experience, so this would be more of like a developmental. Like, okay, we can just have him come up with Mateos. Is Shaq McRoy? He is 6'8", 344 pounds.
That's a massive person.
He sounds like a Wisconsin lineman already.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't be really a step in and play guy, but a potentially depth piece. The other two guys I have are interchangeable in my mind just because one's a tackle and one's more of an interior offensive lineman. But number two, I have Shadre Hurst from Tulane. He's a 6'2", 293 pound interior offensive lineman. He did play 54 snaps at left tackle in 2025, but he's played all five spots at least a little bit, but primarily he's a left guard. So if Brunner decides to maybe enter the draft or, if there's a late transfer like Mike said, I think he's a guy who is great in run and pass blocking that could fill in on the interior. And then looking at tackle, my number one guy would be Tree Babalade from South Carolina. He is 6'5", 330. He's a really good pass blocker, and he's played both tackle spots. He played 764 snaps at left tackle, 398 snaps at right tackle. So, again, that versatility is something that comes up big for me. All right. We have two position groups defensively, D-line and DB. So, Mike, give me who your D-line targets would be.
All right, so I wanted to call out one specific guy here. It's because we got that again. We're bringing up Tulane again. I got D-line and nose tackle Travion McAlpine. One hell of a name. He was all conference in the American Athletic Conference this past season. As we know, Tulane made the playoff. 35 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 7 pressures, and one fumble recovered. He's got 1 year of eligibility left. This really, really, in my view, screams Parker Peterson, basically. I'm really, really hoping that he might be able to put in a good word for the staff. But, again, another guy that's productive, an all-conference dude. He's gonna be costly. I can tell you that right now. But I'm hoping, at the end of the day, because I wrote down we got to bring in 3 D linemen into this portal class, I think, as well. Because, you got Ben Barton, you got Parker Peterson, you got JVR Suggs, who's leaving as well. Right there, I mean, those are 3 highly – Brandon Lane, too, 4. That's 4 right there. That's 4 very, very respectable guys that had one hell of a rotation this past season. So maybe my number needs to change at 4, but I think it's 3 for sure. And I think it starts with this guy, with Trevin McAlpine, with his productivity. And, again, another guy who's got 1 year left, and hopefully he can complement a big perk as well as Dylan Johnson as well.
So I'm going to jump in. I'm going to go before Jake just because I also have a Tulane guy on my group. Basically what I was looking for guys who were in the top 50 of run defense that also played at least 50% of snaps that can rush the passer a little bit. So my number 3 guy is Santana Hopper from Tulane. He's 6'2", 265. So he's not a big, beefy guy, but he had 23 run stops out of 269 snaps. So it's an 8.5% run stop percentage, and had 39 pressures and 4 sacks. So productive there as well. Number 2, I have Bear Alexander from Oregon. He's 6'3", 302. He'd be a little bit harder to move around. He had 31 run stops last season on 232 snaps. That's a 13.4% run stop percentage, and then 17 pressures and 2 sacks.
I think this is going to be his 3rd school in 3 years, or it's 4 schools in 4 years with that guy. I am
welcome to new age college football, man.
It's unreal. That guy I remember it this time last year with him, and even the year before. It's either 3 schools in 3 years or it's 4 and 4. It's one or the other.
We had AJ Storr in Wisconsin, so there's nothing that's going to shock me. That guy's played for 8 schools in 9 years. It feels like.
Yeah, it was amazing.
All right, then my number 1 guy. And Jake and I talked about this, and Mike as well with the Scary Alvarez show. We talked about this a little bit after. I have a guy from SMU, and Jake mentioned like maybe we can get a little bit of a pipeline going there of guys coming from Texas to maybe kind of replenish the Badgers a little bit while the other big schools are fighting over the big guys from everywhere else. So I have a guy from SMU. His name is Terry Webb. He's 6'3", 319 pounds. He had 21 run stops last year and 212 snaps. That's 9.9% on a run stop percentage. And then 22 pressures and 6 sacks. So very productive defensive lineman. Jake, who are your guys?
All right, so I went with Horace Lockett out of University of Central Florida, 6'6", 341 pounds. I think we all know why I'm picking him. I like stopping the run. You can play 2 spots.
You don't have to bring in one guy.
Jesus.
Exactly. He's very big. He's the type of person that has to pay for 2 plane tickets because he takes up 2 seats. My next one is a guy that's probably going to be pretty expensive. He reminds me a lot of Nolan Smith out of Georgia, who now plays for the Philadelphia Eagles. His name is Jaden Woods out of Florida. That guy is pure speed, bro.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
He is very good. Definitely getting drafted. Might not be first round like Nolan Smith, but he is 1,000% athletically getting a chance at the NFL. I would like that to come with Badgers behind his name. That would be awesome.
I am 95% sure Wisconsin will pick up the phone on this guy. He had Badgers in his top 3, top 4 before he committed. So
yeah, he sure did.
That's a name that we should monitor, although he's going to get paid.
He's going to absolutely get paid.
Yeah.
Another guy that the Badgers should bring in because he just screams Wisconsin Badgers, Lance Ingold out of Northern Illinois University, 6'7", 230 pounds. He only had 17 total tackles and 1.5 sacks, but he is a big body guy with lots of raw strength. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be J.J. Watt, but you guys remember what J.J. Watt looked like as a tight end? Kind of what Lance Ingold looks like right now. And they threw a lot of muscle on that guy. And look what happened to J.J. Watt's life. It changed him forever. So 6'7" with that body frame, get him in the workout program at Wisconsin, throw about 30 more pounds of muscle on there. Might have yourself something right there. Lance Ingold out of Northern Illinois would be a very interesting pick for Wisconsin.
I think we've done good having some guys with Ingold on their jersey in Wisconsin.
I agree.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Last position group, DBs. I didn't make the guys choose between safeties and corners. You can mix it up however you want. So, Mike, who would be your DB room that you'd want to bring in?
All right. I got 1 cornerback and I got 1 safety for you guys. So I'm going to start with cornerback. I got Jaquez White, 6'1", 190 pounds out of Troy University. Troy, a very respectable program in its own right that's given multiple big-time programs multiple problems. So we need vet leadership, and he's got 1 more season of eligibility, 67 tackles, 11 pass deflections, and 3 interceptions last year. So, kind of going back to the receiver room in a little bit, I'm looking for big bodies too, as well in the corner room, as well as the staff is too. They have literally gone on their way a bunch to try and get big bodies on the corner spot, especially some of the freshmen that we have playing for Wisconsin right now. So as far as quarterback size, this kind of screams that a little bit too, especially if once you get in the weight room with Coach Collins and company, maybe put on about 10 pounds, give or take. But the size at 6'1" definitely stood out to me, quite a bit, and the production's obviously there. So, and then my safety, I'm just going back to the FCS. I got Jalen Lee out of South Dakota State, another respectable program up there in the Dakotas. Big year last year, 63 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, 3 interceptions. Also has one year left of eligibility. we ultimately, at the end of the day, at the safety position, we need somebody to complement. I forget his name, the Nina guy. Once again, what's his name?
Young.
Help me out. Yep, thank you. We only have one starter back coming back in the safety room, and now that you have guys like Preston Zachman that are now in the portal, Austin Brown's obviously gone, and behind him you literally have. Not that I'm not discounting these guys, but when you have two kind of unproven redshirt sophomores, I guess you got Luke Emmerich and then you got Grant Dean as well. It would be
Also
nice to
from
get
Nina.
somebody back. Yeah, correct. And then it would be really nice to get somebody in there with experience at the end of the day, similar to the cornerback room as well. Because I mentioned it last night as well. The one guy we have coming back is Emilio Agard, and he's got 300 snaps. Everybody else is very, very low on that totem pole. So bringing in experience and combining that with some production, I think this could go a long way, especially in the secondary room.
Yeah. Jake, who you got for the DBs?
All right, so the first guy I got comes from the great team of Central Connecticut State Blue Devils. His name is Braden Hall. He was very aggressive. He was kind of a bulldog when I was looking at this guy. I was like, oh, my God, dude, this guy is insane, bro. Like, he's just running in there, diving like a torpedo. I'm like, yeah, sign me up, dude. I like guys that are willing to tackle. It's kind of refreshing. After what I watch
professionally by chance?
What's that?
Do you want to play professionally by chance?
Dude, seriously, after what I watch on Sunday, dude, it's like, Jesus Christ, it's nice to see. Yeah, I didn't know that corners are allowed to tackle people. That's weird to me. But my next two guys are kind of a package deal. I did ask you guys if this was okay. Both guys come from Iowa State. Both guys are literally the same size. The first guy I'm going to name is Trey Bell. He's a cornerback. He's 6'3", 191 pounds. Very aggressive, long arms, uses his length to his advantage. Very nicely done. And the last guy, the guy that I wanted to talk about, his name is Carson Van Dinter, also from Iowa State, also 6'3", 190 pounds. Mike, you might know this. This guy's from Kaukauna, Wisconsin, which is right in my backyard.
Go Ghosts.
Wisconsin was pretty high on his radar, but he obviously ended up choosing Iowa State. So having some familiarity with people who have recruited him before, obviously coming back to his home state, he could help out the safety room. He didn't get a ton of playing time this year, but he did have a section of the season where he was getting some tackles, mostly special teams work. But a guy, he'd be able to compete in this room because there's not a lot of experience in there. So Carson Van Dinter, Trey Bell, you guys can come over. We'll bring all the Old Dominion wide receivers and quarterback over here, and then we'll create a pipeline from SMU. And look at that. We fixed the Badgers. Good job, guys.
That's awesome. Hell yeah.
Why are we on staff?
Right?
Yeah.
Pay me, bro.
Yeah.
My number 3 guy comes from LSU. His name is Mansour Delane, which might be Delaney. When I was looking for DBs, safeties, and corners, I was looking for guys who were in the top 50 in coverage grade, played at least 50% of the snaps, and then I was looking also for guys who were top 50 in run defense at 50% of snaps. So that's what I was looking for. So Mansour Delaney, 13 receptions allowed on 35 targets. That's 37%. That's super low. Had 2 interceptions and then 10 run stops, only 5 missed tackles. So like Jake's talking to, also want sure tacklers. And then he's 6', 190. So I think he's a good mix of kind of all of those things. My number 2 guy, I don't think the Badgers are going to be able to pry him away because I think he's going to be trying to get massively paid because of his size and production combined. And that's Cole Wisniewski out of Texas Tech. He made both lists. So top 50 in coverage and top 50 in run defense and is a sure tackler. And he's 6'4", 220 at the safety position. He sounds like Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah.
Who plays on Sundays for Baltimore. He allowed 21 receptions on 28 targets, which is 75%. You will typically see safeties having higher reception percentages allowed just because they're playing as the safety net of the defense and not up on guys like coverage corners. 0 interceptions, but he had 24 run stops and only 8 missed tackles, was about 10.5% on missed tackle percentage. But my number 1 guy comes from Virginia, and his name is Devin Neal. He is a 6', 214-pound safety. He allowed 16 receptions on 26 targets. That's 61.5%, but had 3 interceptions and 27 run stops from the safety position. And he only missed 6 tackles all year. His missed tackle percentage was 6%. So Devin Neal would be my number 1 pick to add to the DB room.
We'll take him.
All righty. Thanks, everybody, for sticking around through all of our transfer portal targets. I think out of, 72 possible combinations, I don't think we had a ton of overlap, which really just, like I said, goes to show there's going to be more than 2,000 players changing hands starting Friday and following the next 2 weeks. So there's going to be so much going on that what we did in the last 40 minutes, like, it doesn't even scratch the surface, really. Like you're dropping eye drops into the ocean with how many players there are changing hands like this. So these are some names. If we get any of the guys that we like, we're obviously going to be ecstatic. Trying to pick 24 guys out of 2,400, you're talking 0.1%. So if we get any of these guys right, some of them we have kind of hunches on, but would be very exciting. So when that happens, we'll talk about some of the guys coming in from the portal after that closes, and we'll give that time to kind of finish. This is the first year there was only one transfer portal window. There's not a spring window this year, so it's all happening in January. So it's going to be chaotic, but we'll see where the Badgers come out of it. Other than that, we'll be back next Wednesday with more Bucks and Badgers basketball, and we will see you guys then.
Later, guys.
Be smart.
Happy New Year.
Did you know Microsoft has officially ended support for Windows 10? Upgrade to Windows 11 with an LG Gram laptop. Voted PC Mag's Reader's Choice Top Laptop Brand for 2025. Thin and ultra lightweight, the LG Gram keeps you productive anywhere. And Windows 11 gives you access to free security updates and ongoing feature upgrades. Visit lgusa.com/iHeart for great seasonal savings on LG Gram laptops with Windows 11. PC Mag Reader's Choice used with permission. All rights reserved.